was just such a waste. Men, when it comes to you and your boats and your automobiles, you guys get a little cray-cray. Cray-cray. Last time aboard Freedom, Shawn squeezed his way behind our generator only to learn that the problem was coming from seaweed outside. So once that fun was over, he left town for a few days, giving me time to get to work doing the unthinkable, decorating our tiny home for the holidays. It all went so smoothly and looked great, at least I was proud of myself. But when it came time to surprise Shawn, I had no idea what I was in for. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you'll automatically be notified anytime we release a new video. Okay, so far so good. Dino is standing tall. This is hilarious. I'm getting so pumped, but I'm getting so nervous because Shawn doesn't even know I'm not picking him up. He's gonna have to come home on his own and see Dino. This is a little cray-cray. I just wrapped the power cord around the door so we can still get, still keep nice and warm in here. And then obviously this doesn't stay up all night, so we'll just take it down once the big reveal happens. And yeah, okay. I'm gonna finish tightening up the lights and it's go time.
And they said the holidays were getting canceled this year. Ha. Oh no, not on Freedom. The holidays are alive and well.
So Shawn called. He forgot his keys. He didn't bring them with him. So I'm getting even luckier that I get to pick him up at the gate and get his reaction live. I gave him some bogus excuse about why I have the camera with me. Content for some other video. He's so crabby when he comes home from flying. So crabby. Oh my God. There he is.
Oh, the lights are coming down too. How'd you even get the lights up there?
Oh, come on. It looks good. Yeah, it does. You're gonna like him. His name's Dino. What? You don't like him?
No.
Isn't he cute? Come on, just stop for a second and take a look.
The Griswold.
What?
The Griswold.
National Lampoon's?
Yeah.
So you don't like him?
So we are on the road again. We are getting so lucky. The wind is about 3 knots. We're cruising at 7.2 knots, which is what we like to cruise at, anywhere between 7 and 7.5 knots. We've gone 35 nautical miles, and we've got an ETA of 6 hours from now. So we're gonna be at our final destination at 4 o'clock this afternoon. We left a little after 5 a.m., about 5:30. I overslept a little bit, and I was a little lazy getting up. But it is a dry day outside. It's really a great fall day for the Pacific Northwest. And the Christmas lights seem to be holding up pretty good. And speaking of Christmas lights, you guys probably want an update on what actually happened when Shawn found out about his big surprise, the big reveal of the dinosaur and all the lights. And I knew he wasn't going to be happy, but I didn't realize just how unhappy he would be. He became a total Scrooge, a total Grinch, walked down the dock, saw it, was pissed. And really all hell broke loose. He said the lights can't stay on. There's no way he's leaving the dock with the lights on. There's no way he can clean the boat with the lights on. And then he saw the lights strung up to the top of the mast down the poles, and he said there's no way those are staying up. They are going to scratch the poles, and I'm not having that. And at that point I just had it. You know, I was like, fine, whatever. All of it's coming down. I went on Amazon. I got everything ready and set to get returned. I marched myself around the boat. I took all the lights off, and I told him, though, I said, I'm not taking down the reef or the mast lights. I'm like, I worked really hard for that. I was so excited for that. It's not coming down. Well, he made sure those lights were coming down. So because I wouldn't help him take it down and he couldn't figure out how I had strung them over the top of the mast, he actually cut them. He cut the lights off and said they're coming down whether you like it or not. I started crying, got really sad, and we went to bed. But luckily, after a full night's sleep and some breakfast in the morning, Shawn came to his senses and said he would approve of the bow lights staying on, and he would approve of the rail lights. Then he said he'd actually fix the lights that he had cut the night before and rehang them from the top of the mast.
Is it Shawn approved?
I think so. Is it Elizabeth approved?
I think so.
So that's what we did. We spent a ton more time rehanging our lights. We never took the wreath down. I said, I'm putting my foot down. The wreath is staying. And he agreed to keep Dino. So any chance we get from now through Christmas, we're going to have Dino on the bow. And maybe at our anchorage tonight, we'll put him back up if the wind stays nice and light like it is right now. Why we had to go through that, I don't know. But it was just such a waste. Men. Sorry guys, I know there's a lot of great men out there watching this video, but when it comes to you and your boats and your automobiles, you guys get a little cray-cray. Cray-cray.
Now that you've been briefed on Dino Gate, it's time to continue northbound to Prevost Harbor on Stewart Island. Located on the north side of the island, overlooking Canada's Pender Island, Prevost has been on our cruising list for a while, so we're excited to enjoy its scenic anchorage for the next few days.
You want to share what's going on?
So we've been hearing a little bit of a squeaking once in a while while we're running the boat, and found out that it's our port side stabilizer. So I tried lubricating some of the moving components, but it doesn't really seem to be getting any better. So once we get to the anchorage, I'll have to look into it a little bit closer.
Does that irritate you?
Yeah.
There you go.
The final few hours of our trip took us up Harrow Strait. With Vancouver Island to the west and San Juan Island to the east, the cruise was quite scenic. As we went up the west coast of San Juan Island, we passed the Lime Kiln Lighthouse, plenty of beautiful estates, and Henry Island before arriving at Stewart Island. As we approached Stewart, one of the northernmost San Juan Islands, we took a hard right turn at the historic Turn Point Lighthouse. Can you guess how it got its name?
And we've arrived. After 10.5 hours, 73 nautical miles later, we are in Prevost Harbor. It's our first time here. We've never anchored here before, so that's kind of cool.
What's the water depth? I forgot to look.
In this area it's like 50. Back in there I think it's less.
Are we gonna pull in to the left? Not a very protected anchorage. So do you love the reef?
I do.
You're not gonna
Looks
throw it
nice.
away?
No.
Or cut it like you did some other things?
No.
That's good.
The next morning we woke up to a stunning sunrise before the rain was set to arrive again. After dropping the dinghy, starting a load of laundry, having some lunch, and enjoying a cuddle sesh with Mr. Sully, the rain finally decided to take a break. So we put on our rain gear and jumped in the dinghy to complete the long hike to the Turnpoint Lighthouse and back.
All right.
Ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
We'll just stand in the dinghy. That way I don't have to try it again.
Oh.
And your butt won't get wet.
Oh,
Be all
okay. Stand in the dinghy.
Standing room only.
You locked up, right?
Yep.
You like my outfit?
Uh-huh.
All right. Whoops, sorry, buddy. I'm supposed to stand? Am I standing in the correct spot?
Well, you can stand wherever you want. You can sit too if you want a wet
I'd
ass.
rather not have a wet butt. If I fell because you forced me to stand, I'd be so pissed.
Should I gun it right now?
It's a nice state public dock. We're in Prevost Harbor, Washington, not to be confused with Prevost Island, which is not too far away in British Columbia. I believe it's just north of here where that island is. But Stewart Island also has Reed Harbor, which is really popular in the summer. And we're gonna walk to a lighthouse. Last time we did this hike, it was like 3 hours round trip. But actually it's nice and dry. Can't really feel the rain now that we're coming onto the trail. And there's a schoolhouse, and hopefully we'll find the t-shirt shack that we saw last time. And just enjoy stretching the legs after yesterday's 10-hour trip. This is much needed. Oh, this is a pretty sight. So now we're in Reed Harbor. It's just literally steps away. Prevost and Reed are connected by a really short trail.
Stewart Island is home to a very small community of both full and part-time residents, and it's also home to a 433-acre marine state park with nearly 4 miles of rugged and winding trails, some of which lead into a main road that takes you directly to the lighthouse and a few other fun spots.
Hey!
Good for doing underdogs though. You gotta go like back and forth with your hands, like push on the lines.
Like this?
Yeah, but slower. So slower.
What?
Slower. You gotta kind of feel the rhythm and know when to go the other way.
You use a boost here.
You don't know how to swing?
No. You want to help? Just give me
No, I want to see if you can do it.
Although we missed out on the treasure chest for the season, we were able to check out the historic schoolhouse, library, and museum.
You want to hear about sewage?
Yeah, I want to know where the homes, how they handle sewage.
That's a really good question. I'm guessing they have holding tanks and something comes to the island periodically to empty them.
Possibly. Probably a good thought.
Yeah. Do you guys have any idea how Stewart Island deals with poop? If you do, comment below. We'd love to learn something more about the island.
As we kept going, we passed some of the private properties overlooking Prevost Harbor, including a private airstrip for folks coming by air, before finally arriving at the lighthouse.
So just when you had that thought of like, when the heck are we gonna get there? You arrive at the beautiful lighthouse. And on a nice day, you cannot beat these views. It's so pretty here.
Yeah, it is. Head back.
Yeah.
There before dark.
Yeah. Pizza time.
Yeah. Let's go get pizza. Good pizza weather.
After another hour of what seemed like a 100% uphill climb, we were all excited to get back to a warm boat and a fun night ahead making homemade Chicago-style deep dish pizza.
So for people that don't know Chicago-style deep dish, what makes it special?
I don't know. It's extra delicious. Well, it's made in a cast iron dish versus like a flat sheet. Obviously the dough is thicker than, like a kind of wood-fired pizza, and the sauce is on the top. So after you put the dough in, you put the toppings on kind of in reverse order. So rather than putting the sauce on the crust, you put the toppings and the cheese, and you put the sauce on the very top. When the moon hits your eye like a deep dish pizza pie on freedom, that's amore.
It's amore.
Amore. You're the Italian, you should be singing.
I know.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, or just really love pizza, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll never miss a video, like next week when we explore more of the Pacific Northwest for our Thanksgiving holiday and I earned some brownie points with Dino. And if you'd like, stick around for Q&A. Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly Q&A. We've taken a couple week hiatus, but we're back. This week we got 4 questions teed up, so let's go ahead and get them started. Our first question this week comes from Sarah Hunter. My husband and I plan to cruise full-time, hopefully on a NORDHAVN, in a few years. We are excited, but I'm worried about being seasick a lot. Has it been bad for you? Do you take meds? And does it get better over time? A great question. As far as meds, we've taken some over-the-counter stuff like Dramamine and Bonine. We haven't taken any prescription-based medications. We try to stay away from even the over-the-counter variety, just because we find that they tend to make us drowsy. One thing that does seem to work well for us, I'm not sure it would work well for everybody, is the relief bands that put an electronic pulse into your wrist, which activates your nervous system, and we did an overview on it in our holiday video a couple weeks back, but the relief bands tend to work quite well for us. Another thing that we've heard is that seasickness is something that improves over time. If you're on a multi-day passage, you might experience it the first day, but it might subside in the subsequent days thereafter. We haven't taken any long multi-day passages, so we can't speak directly to whether or not that's true or false. The last thing we try to do is avoid alcohol and caffeine the day before our passage, and during passage try to watch how much caffeine we're taking. So as much as we like coffee, me personally, if I drink a lot of coffee, I find that tends to affect me with seasickness. So hopefully those things help. Our second question this week comes from Howard, and Howard lives in the UK. Howard asks, you have a Marine John Deere engine. How many hours before a full overhaul, assuming you service it regularly or on schedule? And do the engines last longer than in tractors because they work at a set RPM? So I'm not sure how long they last in an agricultural application in a tractor, but John Deere suggests that the engine installed in this boat should go 40,000 hours before needing an overhaul. The nice thing is too that this engine can be completely rebuilt in situ. You don't need to remove the engine from the boat to do the rebuild. It's a wetline sleeved engine, so you don't have to pull the engine block out and have it rebored and lined. There's liners already in the cylinders that can be removed and replaced. Obviously piston rings, bearings, all those things you would replace as well. But if you know what you're doing, supposedly you can do it in a day, and you can do it in place. Also, to put that into perspective, how long is 40,000 hours, or how many miles will that allow us to travel in the boat? The boat is a 2004, and currently we have 5,100 hours on the boat. So we have a long ways to go until we get to 40,000. Probably won't ever see that in our lifetime. And if you assume, on average over the life of the boat that you're averaging 6 knots, 40,000 hours would take you 240,000 nautical miles. And if you just say that around the Earth is 24,000 miles to do a circumnavigation, you could, take your boat around the world 10 times before you would need to do a rebuild. So a lot of life in this engine, a lot of life left in the engine. Hopefully we don't need to do a rebuild. Our third question this week is from Michael Short, and Michael's from the Let's Go Outdoors channel based in Canada. What tools would you suggest to be kept on board the trawler as a bare minimum? Great question. You don't need an extensive tool set, but what you do need is kind of the standard hand tools. So, different size screwdrivers, Phillips and flathead, different pliers. You're going to want a socket set, probably a 1/4 inch drive and 3/8 drive, taking you all the way up to probably 1 inch in standard size sockets, or 24 millimeters or so in metric. You're also going to want open end wrenches in standard and metric as well, covering kind of the same sizes that your sockets do. And then you're going to want some electrical tools on board as well. So it's good to have a multimeter for troubleshooting electrical problems, but then also to have wire strippers and crimpers and kind of some of those basic wire hand tools. So screwdrivers, wrenches, sockets, pliers, channel locks, and electrical tools are definitely a good start. And our fourth question this week comes from a viewer out of Seattle, Washington. She lives on a 43-foot NORDHAVN as well, and her name is Elizabeth. Why do you hate Christmas lights on a boat so much? And will you get as mad next year when your wife goes full-on National Lampoons?
Okay, you can wrap it up. We've heard enough of you.
So that answers our Q&A for this week. We hope you guys like the fact the Q&A has returned. If you do, give us a big like down below. And as always, thanks for watching our channel. Thanks for submitting all of the great questions, and we'll see you again next weekend. Have a great week. Cheers.